I have a brief statement. Let me read the statement first, and then we'll see if anything needs to be added. Of course, I'll answer some questions. Yesterday, the government announced that currency notes of the denomination of rupees 500 and rupees 1000 will no longer be legal tender. The Prime Minister has justified the decision as part of a plan to crack down on black money. If the purpose of the decision is to unearth and stamp out black money and prevent its generation, it deserves our support. The decision of the government has to be seen in the background of undisputed facts and data. 1. In 1978, the Janata government demonetized high denomination notes. By all accounts, that action failed to achieve its objectives. High denomination notes were reintroduced shortly afterwards, and the volume of unaccounted wealth and income admittedly increased. 2. Rupees 500 and rupees 1000 notes in circulation by value account for 86.4% of all the notes in circulation. All those notes will be withdrawn. If a person tenders an old note, it has to be replaced. Government has practically acknowledged that they cannot be replaced by smaller denomination notes, that is rupees 100, 50, 20, 10, 5, 2 and 1. Hence, the decision to introduce a new series of high denomination notes of rupees 500 and rupees 2000 and presumably also rupees 1000. Ultimately, only the old notes that are not legally exchanged for new notes will be actually demonetized. How much will that be? By value is uncertain and unknown. This will be real test of the success of demonetization. 3. Introduction of new series of notes is estimated to cost between rupees 15,000 to rupees 20,000 crore. Hence, the economic gains of demonetization should be at least equal to that amount. 4. Replacement of old notes by new notes should be done quickly, efficiently, and with the least inconvenience to the people, especially the poor, the middle class, the farmers, the daily wage earner, the small traders and business persons, the students, the self-employed, and the housewife, because every one of them will have a few notes of high denomination. The government and the banks will be on test how well they handle the implementation of the decision. 5. 40 years ago, a rupees 500 note was a high denomination note. Today, it is doubtful if a rupees 500 note can be regarded as a high denomination note. One has to take into account inflation in the intervening period. The rupees 500 note is widely circulated and used. That is why I think the government had no option but to reintroduce the rupees 500 note. If the vast majority of the old rupees 500 notes are legally exchanged for the new rupees 500 note, what purpose will be served by the elaborate exercise? 6. The introduction of the rupees 2000 note is a puzzle. How will this move help in preventing the generation of black money? If new income or wealth is unaccounted, will not that income or wealth be hidden in the rupees 2000 notes? How is demonetization of high denomination notes served if a new and higher denomination note is introduced? Government must explain this apparent puzzle. 7. The economic wisdom of the government's decision will be tested on 3 parameters. A. The present cash to GDP ratio is 12%. Will it come down to the world average of about 4%? B. The value of the high denomination notes currently in circulation is about 15 lakh crore rupees. Will that value come down significantly? And C. Will gold imports surge, indicating that unaccounted income wealth may seek refuge in bullion and gold jewelry? this is the opening statement. There are some things which will emerge in answers to questions, so I'll take a few questions.
Mr. Chidambaram, my point is very simple. You know, many people are calling this a game changer. You were in the finance ministry for good 7 to 8 years in the UK part. Did this come across at any stage? Did it come into your mind to help in, curbing black money? And secondly, do you believe that this is a game changer?
This has been considered by successive governments at different times, but I think the consensus was that the economic gains may be very small and the disruption and inconvenience may be very large. I think, I'm not sure, I think there is a CBDT study and report on this matter. I can't put my finger on the year or the time, but I think there is a CBDT report on the matter.
One second, sir. Sir, let's have reply to one question and I'll come to you.
So what will be the impact on liquidity,
Is it a game changer?
on economic growth and also on economic growth as also on inflation?
So is it a game changer? You've not answered my question.
See, immediately there will be some contraction in the economy. There will be some disruption of economic activity. But that, I think, the government itself has acknowledged, and the Prime Minister has appealed to the people to put up with some inconvenience. Question is, how quickly and how efficiently will the old notes be replaced by the new notes when people legally go to the bank and ask for an exchange of notes? If that process becomes cumbersome or a harassment, it will affect economic activity. That's why I emphasized in my statement, the test will be how quickly and efficiently the old notes are replaced by new notes when they are legally tendered in a bank.
Mr. Chidambaram,
Ma'am.
this move has been widely dubbed as a monetary surgical strike, with the Prime Minister himself calling it a great purification exercise. Do you agree with these things?
We agree that the objectives are sound. We will have to wait and see how far those objectives are achieved. In my opening paragraph of my statement, I say, if these are the objectives, the decision deserves our support. And yesterday, we supported the decision. But whether the objectives will be achieved, we'll have to wait and see.
Ma'am.
Chidambaram, when the whole black money issue was raised during the election campaign, Mr. Modi's whole pitch was that they are mostly located in offshore accounts. And the pitch was that he's going to get the black money back and 50 lakh crores are going to be, 50 lakhs is going to be deposited and so on. Now, how much effort has been done to bring back black money? And black money, does it actually indicate wads of money stacked somewhere, or does it pertain to activities? And what has been done by this government to curb those activities which increase the flow of black money?
Well, if I recall, I think the government itself has admitted that it did not meet with any significant measure of success in bringing back black money stashed abroad. I think the number turned out to be some 3,000 or 4,000 crore rupees. As far as putting rupees 15 lakhs in each account, the less said, the better. If any one of you has received 15 lakhs, I congratulate you. As far as unearthing black money within the country, 40 or 50 years ago, or maybe even 30 years ago, unaccounted wealth and unaccounted income was perhaps stored as cash. Empirical evidence tells us that today, unaccounted wealth and unaccounted income is largely stashed away in construction, real estate, bullion, jewelry, and perhaps securities. I have no first-hand information about how much is stashed away as hard cash? Only the government can answer that question.
आपने इसमें जिक्र किया है कि रिप्लेसमेंट जो नोटों का है, I can ask in Hindi?
You can ask.
रिप्लेसमेंट ना बहुत बड़ी बात है, इलीगली रिप्लेसमेंट शुरू हो गया है। जो गरीब आदमी के पास 500 का नोट है, उससे लोग 300 रुपए में ले रहे हैं, और जो आपने कहा रिक्शे वाला, हाउस वाइफ, काम वाली या मैड, इन सबके साथ ये जो डिसीजन है बहुत बुरा प्रभाव डालने वाला है। इस पर आप क्या कहेंगे?
See, I cannot, the Congress party, I cannot support anyone trying to launder black money into white money. I think you're talking about brokers and commission agents who are helping launder money. That I cannot support. We do not support that. I'm concerned about the 98 or 99% who are legitimately entitled to exchange their notes. You see, a student who has just received from his parents 2,000 rupees, or a housewife who has been given 5,000 rupees for household expenses, or a daily wager, a carpenter or a plumber who has earned 600 or 700 rupees that day. That is legitimate money. That 500 rupee note must be replaced. Let me make that very clear. That must be replaced. It must be replaced without harassment, without inconvenience. The test will be beginning tomorrow, how efficiently and how quickly that money is being replaced. If they are put to harassment, they are put to inconvenience, if they ask them all kinds of questions, I think that would be completely counterproductive. Millions and millions of people have legitimate money in their hands, and that legitimate note must be replaced. As I said in the statement, maybe 30 or 40 years ago, 500 rupee note was a high denomination note. Today, I don't believe anybody regards 500 rupee note as a high denomination note.
Seen as being suggested as a broad spectrum antibiotic, which can cover black money, corruption, fake currency, and debt.
Well, antibiotics are good, but an overdose of antibiotics can be bad.
Sir, how do you think this step will be effective in the forthcoming assembly polls? Some of the people are saying it will bring more transparency and cleanness.
I don't know. You must ask people who spend large amounts of money in elections. I don't know if people stash cash 3 months ahead of elections. I don't know. I know that people pull out money at the time of elections and spend it for elections. I don't know if people put it in gunny bags or suitcases and store it in a room. I don't know.
But it won't affect the political parties, sir?
I don't know. The Congress party, the Congress party will fight an election according to the rules and regulations, I suppose. And Congress party in any way did not have too much money even in the last election.
Mr. Chidambaram, the sense is that whenever there's been an economic downturn the world over, the Indian economy has been like relatively stable. That's the sense, and that's because we have a parallel economy running and that's the black money economy. So you think black money has its uses?
No, I don't encourage or support unaccounted income or unaccounted wealth. But there is a non-monetized economy. Now, you can't call that a black economy. That's non-monetized, still legitimate. The entire farm economy is non-monetized but legitimate. Likewise, people below the income threshold, income tax threshold, may be non-monetized, but that is legitimate. The small trader, the small businessman, the daily worker, the money they have may not be formally part of the system of reporting incomes and wealth, but the money they have is not illegitimate money. It's perfectly legitimate. So that economy is quite large in India, and that economy has indeed played a part in keeping the wheels of the economy moving. I don't hold a brief for anyone who's got unaccounted wealth and unaccounted income.
Government has claimed that around 6 lakhs crores rupees of this black money will be out of the system within a couple of days. Second, when you said about getting back in Tamil Nadu, you have seen that in the trucks, people were moving money, which was held by Election Commission.
You should ask the political parties who own the trucks or hired the trucks. What's the point of asking me? See, the test is, there is 15 lakh crore is the estimate of the 500 rupee and the 1,000 rupee notes. Now, if say all 15 lakhs worth of notes are exchanged, then this exercise is an exercise in futility. I hope I'm making myself clear. So the real test is how much of it is being legally exchanged and how much is being actually demonetized and extinguished. That will be known only over the next 30-40 days when the money comes to the banks for exchange. But believe me, the bulk of this money is legitimate money in the hands of the homemaker, the housewife, the student, the daily worker, the carpenter, the plumber, the small businessman. And when they go to exchange the money, I want to make it very clear, government and the banks owe a duty to them to exchange it quickly and efficiently. If they harass them, then that is wrong.
Yesterday only
One second.
you have already said that this 2,000 note which is going to be issued is a puzzle, and you have left it to solve this puzzle to the government. But as a journalist, we want to hear your wisdom. What you think of being the 2,000 note currency coming and how this will solve the black money economy?
If I know the answer, why will I raise the question? It's a puzzle.
Since you are a finance minister in the past for 7-8 years.
See, you demonetize 500 and 1,000, you introduce 2,000. It seems to me a puzzle, but let the puzzle be unraveled by the government. If any one of you can find an answer, I'll be very happy to hear your answer.
Ravi.
लेकिन मेरा सवाल ये है कि क्या सरकार को रीथिंक करना चाहिए 2000 नोट जारी करने के लिए बिल्कुल करना चाहिए आप कहेंगे?
See, I don't know why the rupees 2,000 is introduced. If they give us a good reason, good answer, maybe we will be convinced. At the moment, I have thought about it. I've spoken to a few people. The people I've spoken to are also unable to understand why you demonetize 500 and 1,000 and introduce 2,000. No, 500 to replace the 500.
So yesterday only government announced decision to demonetizing the high value notes. But the introduction of 2,000 rupee note has been, the information about the introduction of 2,000 has been circulated in the social networking sites for the past few weeks. Do you think this is the indirect gesture of those who are keeping old black money and into them?
No, I also saw yesterday a small clip on a mobile of the model 2,000 rupee note. It's possible that the government has ordered printing of the 2,000 rupee note a few weeks ago, and it's quite possible that one note found its way into the mobile. If government was introducing a 2,000 rupee note by itself, that would be a different matter. What I don't understand is you demonetize 500 and 1,000 and introduce 2,000. That, with great respect, it may be my own inadequacy. I'm not able to understand.
Sir, one question here. We are told that the RBI is going to issue forms and you have to fill up those forms in detail before the money can be exchanged, you know, you go to the bank and otherwise. And the second thing we are hearing is that that there may be a move to, what's the word, ban, not ban, stop. Lockers, you know, which are, people have lockers where they keep their jewelry and all, that they may put a stop to banks opening these, and then after about 6 days, only an assessor will come and, you know, in front of them the locks will be opened. And you know, what I'm trying to say is that are we moving towards the police state, where, you know, they're trying to sort of track of your money movements, your jewelry, what you eat, where you go, how you sleep, where you holiday, when you go to sleep, whatever, you know. I mean, are we really moving into that kind of a format? And is the Congress Party visualizing that such a thing may be happening to us?
Well, I sincerely hope that the grim scenario that you present doesn't turn out to be a reality. There is a press conference at 4:30 by the Honorable Finance Minister, and I'm sure these questions you can ask at that press conference. But I want to make a point. If the RBI form is mandatory for the housewife, for the daily wage earner, for the small trader, for the student, that would be harassment, pure and simple harassment. I simply hope that RBI will not buckle under any pressure and impose this mandatory form on anyone who comes to exchange 2 500 rupee notes or 1,000 rupee note. That will be pure and simple harassment, and the Congress Party will strongly condemn that, if that happens. You see, the government has taken a decision. I have flagged some questions, answers to which will decide whether there is economic wisdom behind the decision. But I'm not questioning the objectives of this decision. The objective is to stamp out black money. That we support. But whether the objective will be achieved alone will decide whether this decision was a good decision or a bad decision, and whether this was a risk worth taking. All I said is a matter of fact. Yes, this has been considered from time to time, but the consensus was that perhaps the economic gains were not big enough to take this decision at that time. Should ask the new president-elect of the United States. No. See, I don't know. I'm a little worried about the timing also. You see, somewhere I read in one of the papers today that some 40,000 marriages will take place in Delhi alone over the next few days. And this month between November 15 and December 15 is expected to witness some, I don't know, 1 million, 5 million marriages all over the country. Now, between now and November 15, people will go and exchange their notes. People will ask for withdrawal of money. How is the government going to handle it? I don't know. That's why I took the trouble of meeting you today to point out that, given that we are on November 9, and given that banks are closed today and they're opening tomorrow and they're allowing, what, 4,000 rupees or something to be withdrawn, how are they going to handle the implementation of the decision? They took the decision, so they must implement it. We support the objectives, but in the manner in which you implement it alone, we will decide whether this is a wise decision or not. I don't know. I mean, the next marriage I attend, I will ask them how they handled it. Yes. We'll see. That's why the timing is a little surprising. You see, I can't now put a date and a month and all. I said yes. Among many steps that are considered by government from time to time, one of them was demonetization of high denomination notes. But it was then felt that perhaps the economic gains were not so great. There is an editorial in the Economic Times today which more or less reflects that point of view. But I agree, there can be another point of view. There can be another point of view which say, yes, the economic gains outweigh the inconvenience. But that proof of the pudding is in the eating, na? We'll have to wait and see whether the economic gains outweigh the inconvenience or the disruption to the economy. There will be disruption, there will be contraction in economic activity in the next few days. Question is, can it be contained within a few days and we go back to normal economic activity? Or will the pain continue for a long time? That is the question.
Second last question, Subodh.
Sir, your statement is more in the form of question on how it will pan out and how it will be implemented.
I know this government does not like asking questions, but why don't you appreciate?